Now, the rest of the story.
Might seem a little excessive, but putting the duals in the 46 are great for the hills, and for some of these parts of the lower valley here, especially where I just did the outline on the lower bottom for him, so he knew where I wanted to outline or where to and not to rake. Helps with your flotation. And this is what the valley looks like, or the bottom looks like down at the valley. I mean, Rocket needs to take another bath in the river because he got sprayed point blank by a skunk the other day. Like point blank, and he's gotten a bunch of different skunk cure baths, and jumping in the river just brought it all right back. So I'm hoping this stuff actually doesn't look too bad when I'm raking it. Granted, I'll go ahead and own up to it. I don't run the rake that much. I mean, I used to growing up, but the valley is a beast of its own, and I'm not used to raking up this tedded ground like it was tedded once. It should have been tedded twice, to be honest with you, but we didn't have the machinery or the manpower to do it. And I mean, it feels dry. The problem is that when you're raking it, you get all that greenness from up underneath that's coming up, and I see that being the primary baler operator. I don't like necessarily seeing that, but 87 degrees, a slight breeze, and I mean, hopefully it's enough that the first stuff that I raked, I'll be able to start baling, because I got a little bit up on the pasture field yet. I got a little bit on the other side of that fence line, which if that fence line comes out, I mean, that'll kind of change the whole dynamic of this down here, because we're working with that fence line being there. But on the other side of that fence line is some softer ground, some wetter ground, and the problem is it's just now, when we just cut this here, gotten where it was dry enough. It's not dry, don't get me wrong, it's dry enough where it'll carry the tractor, and I was able to cut it and rake it, and I'll be going through with the deer baler and putting acid on it. The plan is to kind of do the opposite of what we did yesterday, and the goal is he's going to finish raking, I'm going to start baling, because I have the hay preservative on my baler, and any of the stuff that might not necessarily be ready to go yet, I can hit it with an unhealthy dose of preservative, try to keep the hay quality there, and then he can come through later today and hopefully maybe possibly finish up baling, or at least bale a bunch more with that coon baler. Then he's got to take the 82 home, and we'll be cutting beans tomorrow, at least if I can get Dad and Ryan doing that, and I'll probably try to haul hay in. Right now it is literally anybody's guess to where we're at, or what this stuff is actually going to produce. The rake is only about a third of the way open, so the stuff doesn't look like much. I mean, it'll look nice and pretty when I cut it, but tedded it out and it doesn't really seem like there's much there. But this stuff doesn't really pack. I mean, it's still heavy, don't get me wrong. I mean, 1,100 pound bales is what the second cut stuff did at 16% moisture, and it's crunchy. And I'm thinking, hoping part of it is, or a large part of it is I'm just being hypercritical of everything that I'm doing, because I'm my own biggest critic. But this right here, I can go and dig into the hay that's left over from first cut and second cut, and this is literally, you get this color here, is what they all look like on the inside. Gotta get this stuff baled, don't get me wrong, but we're looking at like a perfect year and making this hay down here. Made all 3 cuttings, which the fact we got 3 cuttings in itself is pretty huge. At least to me, it's a pretty awesome goal that I really wasn't thinking was achievable. But 3 cuttings off of everything but that, and nothing has gotten any rain on it after we cut it. It's gotten a little bit of rain on it if it was sitting outside yet after I baled it, but as far as it in the windrow, it hasn't gotten any rain on it. And with this stuff, my plan was to slam it inside or put a bunch of it inside right away. They're calling for a 30% chance of rain on Sunday. Today is Wednesday or Thursday, Tuesday? Today's Tuesday. And I'm gonna let this stuff sit outside and steam out, air out, whatever it really wants to do. I mean, just again being overly cautious, but it's gonna be a big sigh of relief if we can get this stuff done right. So let's go see if we can't start baling. Well, should I talk to you really quick? 'Cause that's what it feels like it's gonna be. So I'm over here on somebody's property. Those of you that used to listen to Jeff Foxworthy tell his deer hunting joke, that's where I usually get that from. That's where I got that from. But quite literally, I'm here on somebody's property that I'm allowed to be on, of course. But I'm on a part of the farm that I've never been before. And it's that stuff that I brush cut and almost got stuck with the 76 cutting it, but I didn't. And so we're baling, and it's day 2. Really trying to fight off a potential day 3 or day 2.5. My uncle just called asking because I need help. Dad and Ryan, the intentions we got going right now are that fucking combine's got to get running. We're broke down, got part coming, machine down. Should be here at 7 o'clock in the morning, and we'll get the combine running again, which isn't going to take very long to do. Quite honestly, I think it's going to take longer to go get the part from the dealership. So we're not here to talk about the combine though, are we? I don't know if you guys can see what's going on behind me. To be completely honest with you, I can't either. All I know is that the gauges are kind of working. The stuff where it's kind of dirtier and, you know, it's swamp ground or low-lying ground, depending on who you are, where you are. Yes, that is the alarm going off on the baler telling me that my door is open and it shouldn't be. Well, I did some MacGyvering, because my overall attitude and mood right now is I really don't have time for your shit. And the baler is doing its job. I really got no complaints about the baler. Some routine, if you want to call it that, maintenance that she needs is, looks like I got a chain that I'm going to shorten up and try to get enough life out of it for about 200 fodder bales or 150 fodder bales or whatever else. And then I'm going to go through before next year and change out all the belt or all the chains on it. But I have a door sensor switch that has decided to give up on me. It's got a little roller that runs on a paddle, and that little roller is locked up. The vice grip being crunched down on it earlier may or may not have something to do with that, but you know, until there's proof, video evidence that that happened, I'm going to say I have no idea what happened there. So I got to get that coming, and the problem is that little roller doesn't allow it to slide in that paddle, so all it does is want to catch when that paddle comes up, and it turns the arm that little roller is on, which it's like paper thin, it turns it 180 degrees back onto itself. So I'm amazed, and the 4 times it's happened now that it hasn't broken. But going back to MacGyvering stuff, I had some black tape, electrical tape, in my pocket because wiring issue, not that particular wiring issue, and I sliced my finger open yesterday on the knife cutter for the net wrap. See, and where I'm at right now, I'm sinking it up to the depth of my tread, and I'm not about to drop a fresh round bale on it because I don't want to sit here and collect moisture up underneath where it's on the ground. Whew, breathe a little bit. I think we're going to push to get this done. I mean, even if it does start getting a little tough, it's 6:15. The dew started hitting when I was tenning it at about 7 o'clock, but I mean, we're probably looking at about 10, 15 bales potentially. I mean, the hay preservative is doing its job. That's why that's stinging, is because that little switch, there's one on each door, on each cylinder, so I'm not truly running without any protection as to whether or not the end gate is acting up. I mean, because that was a thing when we had to replace the cylinders. Bales are coming off beautiful. This stuff, I'm all over the board, sue me, is actually coming off really nice. I can't believe that I'm still baling, because granted, it's got that longer grassy stuff in it. It looks kind of black as far as dirt and stuff being in it because of all the under crud. Tedding it twice, because I did hit this part from here to the hill twice, and then raking it. The tedding actually, I think, kicked out, knocked a lot of the dirt out of the material that's there. And if you can't read lips, I'm telling him, do everything. My willingness to really care too much at this point is pretty well gone. We got enough of this made down here in awesome conditions, and even what we're currently looking at right now, the stuff that I'm making here, it's actually coming off nice. I got my handy dandy, pretty trustworthy hay tester, and this stuff is actually coming off at 9 to 12%. Hard to believe. A little bit, right? So I'll hurry up and just wrap then. And for those of you that have watched that video, that's where I almost got stuck with the brush cutter. That's where I almost got stuck with the mower. That is, well, it never fails when you're doing the outside round. I kind of hung around it, away from it, and it never fails. I actually had a full bale just as I got right there, and the 76 started doing some talking to me and let me know that it did not appreciate me trying to drag it through that particular piece of ground. And this is where Dad and Kevin got stuck with the 40-20. I mean, it was dry when I first made it. It's been wet all summer. I came down to cut this place and it carried the tractor, so not really gonna worry about it too much. I'm looking for feed, I'm looking for bales I can sell. I mean, granted, I'm gonna be honest, a lot of the stuff that I'm making right here probably won't like sell, but that just means that a bunch more of that feed that I put aside for my cows, I can sell, and this stuff I can feed my cows. I mean, the cows, granted, I'm not trying to feed them just out and out junk, but they are my recycling system. This stuff, oops, there goes the mirror that I never really get to use anyway. I try not to feed them out and out junk. I mean, if I do, I put it out as free choice and I still have good feed there. But the stuff like this that you're seeing me try to bale up is the reason why I have those cows. Because I can make this stuff, I can do something with it. I mean, not necessarily take it up to the auction and, you know, hope that it's gonna sell. So, we're doing okay. As far as the cows go, I want to improve the cow herd genetics. I mean, I bought older cows, that burned me. They're producing calves, kind of. I'm gonna keep all the heifers that I got this year because they're a lot nicer looking calves. Whoops. I want to improve there. Another problem that is really starting to rear its ugly head at me is discbine tedder baler. Another baler, another discbine, bigger tedder. Not another tedder, a bigger tedder. Problem is what do I buy first? What do I look into buying first? This spine is nice because I got everything knocked down, so we were able to hit this this dry window that we're in. I still got tomorrow, but I'm planning on moving some of this stuff tomorrow. As far as a bigger tedder, the 4 rotor is nice. I need a 6 rotor because this stuff, it really could have benefited from getting hit twice. And if I would have had a bigger tedder, that I could have covered more ground in the 2 days that I did come down in Ted. A bigger tedder would have at least allowed me to get over everything twice, because it took me a day and a half, a day and 3/4 maybe, to hit all this twice. I really need to come down and GPS the whole works, and I would really like to know what is actually down here. This may be the only chance I get to make all this like this, which is kind of unfortunate, but it's still kind of wicked awesome too, because this place is looking pretty stinking awesome. And you know, another baler is huge too, because like right now we're running 2 today and yesterday, because we're only a 2-man crew right now. Is I raked all day yesterday until 4 o'clock, and then I just quit. All right, I'm done. I'm gonna start bailing, and I bailed till 7 because, like you heard me say, that's about when I thought the dew was gonna hit. We were done by 6:30, which is a good thing to have, but then I should have had more raked, right? My uncle and I are gonna try to haul some of this off tomorrow. I want to get it out of the bottom. They're not calling for rain or anything like that, but you know, I don't know how much rain it's going to take for this to get soft, like where I'm at right now. And I know the windows are dirty, so you guys don't really see what I'm talking about, but like the rest of the bottom will be all right, I think. I mean, we need a lot of rain to really get water standing again. I really believe that what I'm doing is, by getting this all cleaned off and trying to consistently keep it cleaned up, it'll actually help this stay drier. I mean, flooding and excessive rain, I can't help that, but getting all this heavy material off the ground and allowing the ground to breathe, I think is huge, because it's showing on this piece down here, because I used to not be able to drive down through there at all, and now I can come up the field road and actually drive straight across now. So I don't know, never stops being fun. Really want this to be done. Don't get me wrong, it's not that I don't enjoy it, but knowing that I really should be making or combining, doing row crops, it's really getting underneath my skin a lot, very much so. So that gate sensor, I'm all over the board. I can't help it. My brain is in about 6 different directions right now. I had some electrical tape that I wrapped around it, so it's perpetually saying that the door is closed. That's why it's freaking out when I open it like that, because I'm going to raise it, and it's saying that the gate is not, they're contradicting each other because of the 2 sensors. So it's not like I'm running without one, because that other one is doing its job. So I'm gonna have to do like a post-harvest video of this down here, which maybe I'll stick the camera on the deer or something. I have both skid steers down here because I need the Bobcat for stacking the stuff inside, because it's a tight space. Very much so a tight space. I almost took the shed down with the deer. We won't talk about that. But I brought the deer down because I can baja across the field with the deer like 14, 15 miles an hour, I think is what I was trying to match Dad's speed the other day, and that's 14, 15 miles an hour is about where we got. And being able to not have to sit and wait for the skid steer to get back to unload or load, whatever. I mean, we got that machine to use it, so we're using it. But that's the problem. What do I look at? A tedder a disc vine or a baler, because all three of them are pretty integral to getting this place made like we did. With one disc vine, with one baler, I'd be in some deep shit. There's no other way to put it. I'd be in so much trouble right now. I mean, it'd be one thing if I would have made, and I'm gonna have to look into it, to doing the farm in sections again and not knocking it all down at once. It's a lot of fun doing it all at once if you can get it dry, but yeah. Oof. And this stuff, I did check it for how dry it is. I mean, it's really surprising that it is as dry as it is. But I got in a couple tight spots with the 76, going in some softer areas where I had the wheels and the baler sunk down to the rims, and I didn't realize it until after the fact. But we're alright. Didn't break anything, didn't get stuck. But the 46 actually went across it a lot easier than the 76 did. But like you've heard me say, the 46 has the duals and virtually no weight on the drawbar. I was actually starting to get a little bit concerned there. Maybe I should be. How about the 76? Kind of feeling like I was low on power, lacking power. And I think a lot of it is just the hills down here. And trying to drag a full bale up and down some of these places is horsepower intensive. As in, I need more HPs. You get so many people that get so upset that they farm out in tabletop flat black soil, pulling a 12-row planter with a 4230 and trying to sound all big and great, but then they don't realize it doesn't take a whole lot of horsepower to pull a lot of weight on flat level ground. What we need the horsepower for is getting up and down some of these hills, our roads and stuff like that. Our roads are, I mean, we literally, one of the roads we drive to get down here is literally called, been referred to my whole life as Roller Coaster Road. So kind of puts it into a little bit of perspective, I'd like to think, as to what kind of road conditions we got down here. But it's, oh yeah, Ryan missed braking that spot right there. What are we gonna do about it? Depends. If the dew isn't hitting just yet, I might tell him to go up and get the rake, which is up in the buildings here, and get it raked. I got enough preservative on that I'll hit it with preservative, and I do have a few bales down here earmarked for cow feed that I know they're cow feed. There's no question about it. But I'm at 107 bales on the counter. I started at 35 bales for the day. So 107 minus 35. You guys do the math for me, because the part of my brain that can do math went away sometime in about 11th grade. I take that back. Actually, I did better in high school math than I did in literally all math classes before that. Your teacher really matters, because Miss Olson that I had was absolutely awesome. So, yeah, this is gonna look nice. Get a little bit of regrowth back on it. Go bug Ryan a little bit for missing that area of hay, but I think I know why he missed it, because I told him to quit, because we had a calf out that decided to jump back in through the fence, and I was told to forget it. So then I told Ryan to go back to rake. Oh, welcome to farming in Southwest Wisconsin. So hope everybody's having fun. I'm getting hot, and wow, we're doing good. We're kicking up dust. And this poor baler. it needs some TLC. It needs that roller chain tightened up and that sensor, and hit it with the air hose and get all the crap off of it. I mean, my problem was, that you guys should have seen in the earlier videos, I was just worried that I wasn't going to get the stuff dry. But I'm not used to running the rake and seeing the green, wet clumps, whatever, come up on top of the windrow. But the thing is, with the wind we had and it being 87 degrees, we actually were able to get the windrows dried out, because I go through and walk around these windrows. You straddle them, you go down, give them a bear hug, and reach underneath, and you can't feel any moisture. And what I'm doing is, it actually comes down to a little bit of a dip down through here. I mean, the hillside is a little firmer, so that gives me a little bit more solid ground to set these bales on, because when it comes time to come and pick these up, we won't be driving down across this with anything, with the tractors, which I'm not sure what I'm gonna have Kevin run. He likes running the 40-20, especially on nice days like this. But if I could get it set up, which I don't think I can, is I'd get Dale over here, which I haven't even talked to him, and have Kevin and Dale run two tractors, that bale wagon and the flatbed behind one of the tractors, and then we'd haul out 8 on the bale wagon, 10 on the flatbed, and then 1 with the skid steer, and then we get this pulled out here pretty quick. I think 300 bales is a pipe dream. I don't think that's going to happen. I revised my goal for 270 is actually what I was kind of hoping for, but I don't know what Ryan has. We started the day at 119, so we had 119 minus, okay, 119, then you take 107 minus the 30, what did I say? The 35, and then problem is, I'm trying to process that in my head, and I'm pretty sure I can feel my brain heating up. I don't think that's going to dry out for a while. Yeah, that's the closest call I've ever had while cutting hay, getting stuck down here. Because that was literally one of those where you start on the outside with those hydro swings and you kind of work your way in. Because Tim asked me if we'd ever get a self-propelled. There ain't no way in heck I would get a self-propelled and run a self-propelled down across this, because then you turn into Tyson, where he's got videos pulling his self-propelled out of the mud. The disc bind is how I know where I can and can't drive, because when you swing it out like that, the tractor is, you know, 10, 12, 11 feet over out of the way, ideally, and hopefully on firm enough ground that you can, you know, okay, that's enough, time to quit. Take your winnings and go home. Self-propelled, you're right there in the action with your drive tires and you're just done. So I don't want to do that. Self-propelled would be cool. Don't get me wrong, we ran one. It was a lot of fun. I mean, but at the same time, as far as disc binds go, there's those new 0 series that they're coming out with. I think they're called the 0 series. My buddy was looking at them, and it's got the similar frame as our 735, which I like. I prefer our 735 frame over the 46 pull types, but it's the new design of these mowers. They're wider mowers with the same frame or similar frame to what we have on our baler. which draws me to them a little bit more. But you're looking about $25,000 for a disc bind, $25,000 for the baler that I want. The tedder, I haven't even looked at bigger tedders. I'm gonna say probably 10 to 12,000 for a tedder that I would be happy with, which that's painting with a pretty large brush. But the reason I say that is because I already know that's what they were going for, but I know prices and everything has gone up. But I almost ended up with a different disc bind, and then that fell through. And then there was a 569 Deere. I think it was a premium, which didn't scare me away from it, because premiums are a little bit heavier, I believe. The shafts and the bearings are bigger, or whatever. And the only thing is with the premiums is that you need an ISO bus, like that Kuhn, to operate them, which wouldn't scare me because, oh crap, and a cracker. Oh good, we're full. If I did another baler, the 82 would end up on it, because the 82 sits all summer, and the 82 keeps coming up with brand new gremlins to keep giving us issues with all the time, and I'm getting sick of it. Which, it's a nice tractor, but it really pisses me off, because if you don't use it constantly, things just get sticky or they just quit. If I could use that tractor for, if I could use that tractor for baling like we are now, it can handle that. Especially if I primarily want it just for the valley, it'd be worth it. So I'm gonna end this video because where I gotta go is gonna require 100 and 1,000% of my attention. So hope you guys are enjoying watching, and this is the last haymaking video. Well, it's going to be. I'm not gonna, if I don't get done and I gotta finish up tomorrow, I'm not filming it. Hopefully your next video you guys will get will be of hauling. Probably not so much stacking, because some of this stuff, like the stuff on the bench, that finer stuff didn't dry out as nice as I would have liked, and I'm gonna leave some of it sit out, spaced a couple feet apart, and let it sit for about a week and air out and decide what it wants to do with its life. And I want to get everything inside that I can, and then I'll sell everything else that sits outside. Then ideally not have to worry about selling too much hay during harvest, and then once harvest is over, I really enjoy doing that, having hay to sell throughout the winter, because then I got money coming in from that. Otherwise, winter gets awfully long if all you're doing is wait until spring. With that, I'm done. That's it. It's over. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Take care. Take it easy. Keep in touch. Wish me luck. Talk to you later.